yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, step into the den where the stories ignite. Legends in the making, all the ones in the light. They walk through the fire, they've danced with the fight. Barely holding back, but their words take flight. Barely legends, yeah, we're breaking the scene. Raw truth, no bluff, every word is clean. From the top of the game to the ones unseen. Barely legends where the dream gets me. Yeah, we got tales from the rise and the climb so steep. Bars of wisdom hidden in the secrets they keep. Mic in the hand, truth rolls so deep. Barely legends waking giants from sleep. Barely legends, yeah, we're breaking the scene. Raw truth, no bluff, every word is clean. From the top of the game to the ones unseen. Barely legends where the dream gets me. Barely scratching the surface.
First off, I just want to get into I've gotten to talk to Matt Getz, the president of the Heartlanders, but I'd love to hear like from your side, what's it like being the president of a hockey team, like a professional hockey team, and then how did you get into it?
Well, it's very fun. It's a I'm a sports fanatic and always have been. So even though a lot of parts of the job, I do some bookkeeping, I do sales stuff that's part of every job. It is fun to do that through the week, and then you get to a game night where there's plenty of other responsibilities, and it's all kind of happening so the fans can enjoy what I think is the best sport in the world.
Yeah.
That's super rewarding and fun. It is interesting at this level. I think most minor league teams would say, especially the further down the minor league totem pole you go, the more responsibilities there are for everybody to worry about. From our account executives to our operations directors, they are doing 30 tasks as opposed to maybe at the next level they'd be doing 20 or 10. In my role, it's the same way, but it really is a lot of fun. I got into it kind of from the broadcasting side. That was my first job out of college. I was a play-by-play guy for a TV sports network in North Dakota that did a bunch of live events. I've always loved hockey. As a play-by-play guy, I was best at hockey. I wanted to do that full time. So when the Mallards left the Quad Cities and the Storm came, there was a job opening. I applied for it and eventually got it. Came down here and kind of tying into what I said earlier, the nature of the business. If you can do one job okay, you're going to get another. Now you have two jobs and do that one okay. Now you have three. And that's kind of what happened for me. And by the time, as strange as it sounds, when the pandemic hit, I was doing 10, 20 different things and had my hand in every area a little bit. So I was retained and kind of became the president of myself over the pandemic, and was very fortunate that the ownership here elected to keep me on, and I have been here since.
Awesome, very cool. Kind of snuck your way. Figured you're doing everything anyways. You might as well get into that
Yeah,
spot.
exactly. It was like we like to get rid of you, but you know how to do a couple too many things.
Yeah, we'd have to replace you with too many people at that point. uh, so you said you were play-by-play. I've found it so curious because I find hockey to be so. I am a big fan of hockey. I've always loved it. Um, the play-by-play for hockey, though, like it's got to be like super difficult. Like the puck is moving so fast, and there's some hard names to pronounce. Like,
Yeah. There are, and it is fast. I played at a very low level for about 7, 8, 9 years. And when I played, it was very frustrating because I always felt like I understood the game well and I knew where I should be. I was very slow skating. I could never get there in time. Like, oh, I know the play I need to make. I can't make it. So thankfully, I can talk and talk fast, faster than I could skate. So having some experience playing, I think, kind of helped calling the game and just being familiar and being able to. I think what's important with any play-by-play job, especially hockey, is anticipating what's going to happen. When it's a 3-on-1 or something, if that guy's holding, where he's thinking of passing, if he is going to pass. It is fast though,
yeah,
and I can't tell you how many times, especially starting out, you can get burned. You look down, to, make sure you're pronouncing, some crazy name correctly, and you look up, and all of a sudden plays on the other end or someone's scoring. Like, oh no, what happened?
Yeah.
But it is, I really think, the most fun sport because there's no pause. It's like calling baseball. You just have to fill time. You have
Yeah.
to have 30 pages of information that six people care about. Oh, God, are we
Yeah.
ever going to get through this game? With hockey, you're going all the time.
Yeah. Well, and even if your team is losing, you always have, like there's always a chance because, like I mean, even at, like, professional level, you see goals in, like, the last 10 seconds that, like, change the whole pace of the game, so it's you
Oh, yeah.
kinda always feel like you have at least a little bit of a shot, even if it might be, like, pretty far-fetched, but it just moves so fast, like you said, so, yeah, it's just crazy. Uh
And
and so how do you manage, because I assume you're kind of overseeing kind of both sides of, hockey operations and then, behind the scenes or however that's said, I might say it backwards. But, like, how do you manage all of that?
so I primarily oversee, I guess, what I would refer to as the business
Mhm.
operations of the Storm. So we have a business staff of about 7 or 8 people, our ticketing staff, our operations, our marketing. That's my primary role.
Okay.
I would say 90% of what I do is there. On the hockey side, I probably, I get to meet with our coaching staff every week. So I'll share some input, but, a lot of times at home games, I won't get to watch the whole game. I might go back and watch some, but we really, trust them with the decision
Yeah.
making for the team and personnel and all that kind of stuff. I do work closely as well with our equipment manager and our athletic trainer, medical stuff for players, making sure they both have what they need. Those are two of really the unsung heroes on every team. They
Yeah.
just put in tremendous hours and just have so much on their plate that they handle, and I like to make sure they have what they need. But from a hockey perspective, even though, like I said, I've played a little bit at a very low level, I've called a bunch of games. We like to leave that to the coaches primarily.
Yeah.
We'll put our opinion in when we think it's necessary and want to give them as well the resources they need. But my role primarily is just making sure that we're doing the things on the business side that we need to stay here. That's selling enough tickets, corporate partnerships, etc.
Yeah. It must be super nice though to have kind of a staff that you're able to, like, trust enough to be like, "You know what?" Like, they can just leave them alone. They know what they're doing. Obviously, like you said, you might put an input here and there, but just to have them be able to be like, "We got it. Like, we can figure it out. We can do most of that part." So you can focus on kind of the big picture stuff that, you don't really get the rewards for. You just kinda get the behind the scenes and make the fans happy kind of a thing.
It definitely is, and we're very fortunate with the hockey staff we have right now. Coming into this year, we knew we were very much going to be kind of rebuilding that. A ton of new faces on our roster, and we were very clear in all of our discussions. Like, we know what this team needs. We know it's going to be a process, but we know where we're headed as well. And it's been fun to see it kind of come together. I know right now the record for the team is not where any of us want it to be or
Right.
thought it would be right away, but we also have a pretty good understanding of why it's there and the things we need to do to keep moving up in the standings and get into playoff position, which is probably more important in this league than any other league in sports, which I
Yeah.
think is one of the great things about the SPHL is, on its surface, people can say, oh, 8 out of 10 teams make the playoffs. But, what good is making the playoffs? Well, ask the seventh seeded Evansville Thunderbolts last year who
Yeah.
won it all. What's important is, like, that's awesome. And we know it's a long season and are just taking it week by week to get these guys in a position to win consistently.
Yeah, and it's not like most games you're getting blown out either, and you guys are still in the points race. I actually was just having conversation with, my co-host yesterday about it, and we were like, it's not doable. It is still doable, and there's obviously hockey's a long season, so, I mean, you're just in the beginning bits of it, but, um, yeah, it is very frustrating the record wise, but it's also, like, not like it's not even as a fan, coming from a fan's perspective, it's not like you can be a little angry, but also at the same time be like, okay, but they still are within reach. Like it
Yeah.
still isn't like you're not at the bottom of the league just getting blown out every game, and it's still a very competitive league one way or the other. And this week, I mean, you guys had the number one team in the league to go against, so that doesn't really help.
Yeah, we've kind of talked behind the scenes. We feel actually that this team is probably ahead of the curve from a performance perspective. Now the results haven't followed that, which ultimately you can feel good about your performance all you want. If you're not getting points, who cares?
Yeah.
But we have pulled a lot of positives, and you look at the schedule we've started with. We've always had a great historical rivalry with Peoria, who's been a perennial powerhouse
Hmm.
for as long as they've been in this league and going back to other leagues. The two teams we play more than any other, Peoria and Evansville. Well, for a while we've been able to kind of pick on Evansville. Well, now they're a championship team, and to start the season, I think I should pull up so I can rattle this off. I think we played something like 15-ish games so far, something in that vicinity, and I think all but one now have been against Peoria, Evansville, or Huntsville, the number one team in the league.
Yeah.
So we've gotten to be tested early, which
Yeah.
aside from a game, we were frustrated at the end of the season, losing some consecutive home games and just not feeling great. Well, then we beat Huntsville, who we knew was a good team. And then we go on the road and we beat Evansville at their championship banner raising ceremony, like 5-1. We're like, guys, first of all, if you're going to win at home. Second of all,
Yeah.
keep it going. Like this
Yeah.
is signs that we have some of the right guys doing the right things, and we've had some roster turnover to start the year, which is pretty typical. But we're all still pretty optimistic about this roster, and certainly think from a record standpoint, the best is ahead of this team. So hopefully that is
Yeah.
the case.
You mentioned some roster turnover and stuff. I did want to ask because does so you guys being the SPHL, you're kind of separated, but still like you kind of work with some other teams here and there. I know like some of your players went to um try out or do some stuff with the Heartlanders and stuff like that. Do you guys work closely with some of those teams? Do you lose some of your players to kind of those higher rankings? Is it kind of like a free agency for your players? Um, how does that work?
It is very unique, and a lot of it's relationship based. So, geographically being close to Iowa, we're going to be a resource for them.
Hmm.
Our head coach Shane is has lived in Worcester for a long time, where the Railers are headquartered. So he's
Yeah,
got great relationship with those coaches. So you'll see a lot of movement there, and that's like any other team in the league. They're just people. And I think there's coaches in the league who have played at different places in the ECHL. But you're right. Kind of as a baseball has a pretty clear cut, although it's not as clear cut now as it used to be. Their farm system, you got
yeah, yeah.
triple A, double A. Of
It's
course,
only
now you
gotten
got
super
high, low.
confusing lately.
It's gotten very, yeah, it's too much for me. Uh, the SPHL is pretty much single A ball, but
Okay.
unlike baseball, because hockey simply has less players in the pro game, Triple A and Double A is affiliated in the AHL and the ECHL for hockey, and then you have us. And below us, there's the Federal League that we get players from. ECHL, they'll pick from the Federal League as well, but primarily from our teams. And that's kind of how that system works. We've had players in past seasons that have ended up at the AHL. We actually had a goalie, Eric Levine, who is now an assistant coach for the Peoria Rivermen, got called up to Double A, ended up at Triple A. I think it was with the Bridgeport Islanders. It wasn't Bridgeport. I can't remember exactly. He ended up being, due to some crazy injuries at the professional level, he was about to go to the
Oh
NHL in a
wow.
matter of like a week,
Jeez.
uh, going from here to there. And he was going to be, I want to say it was for the Maple Leafs, but I can't remember correctly. He was going to be like their backup. There is only one player, to my knowledge, in the history of our league, and it was Scott Darling, who actually played in the SPHL and ended up with the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
And I think he ended up being a backup there for a couple. He might have won a ring there. I'm not
Yeah,
certain.
he's one the weirdest thing, he's like my favorite goalie, and then I married my wife, found out she took a picture with the Stanley Cup because, her dad and his dad grew up together.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I was, like, the most pumped kid when Scott Darling came in, for Crawford and had because he actually had I want to say he had a shutout in that one of the
Wow.
playoff series. So yeah, it was the most random circumstances to be like, yeah, that's my favorite goalie of all time, which is also the most random thing. And then it being my wife being like they're close friends with that family. So yeah, it was the weirdest connection there, but
That's funny.
yeah, it just it threw me off a little bit. But you were saying though, kind of going in that league of kind of building up those players. Um, so do you and then how important is it? So like we got to interview Leaf. He came on the show. How important is it to have like because I find like you guys, the SPHL and like the IFL, where kind of rosters move around a lot. How important is it to have a guy like Leaf where you kind of have a little bit of consistency there to kind of have a face that everybody can kind of go to and kind of know the area a little bit better, know the team. How's that? How important is that?
It's huge. Yeah, I think to the point you're making, it helps guys settle in. From even an off ice standpoint. Lee, Tommy, our captain, who's actually he was on our not our opening night roster, but year one played with us and has been on the team every year since. These guys are known throughout the community. They
Yeah,
know all of our sponsors where they're eating, the best ways to get around. They're part of the Quad Cities. So
yeah,
when someone new comes in, they can go to those guys with any questions if they don't want to come to us. And there is just kind of that comfort level with these guys who have been there. Leaf, especially an incredibly talented player that a lot of these younger guys, not only off the ice can ask him, but on the ice, like, hey, how did you do that?
yeah,
I've not done that before. So the ability to be a good teacher and leader for these guys, I think, is another pretty cool stat. In addition to just being a great player that he brings to the table.
yeah. And being a talented player, and then also like being that veteran guy, but also like he passes really well and has like an insane amount of assists. Like you don't see like a lot of veterans in the world like being like, yeah, I'm gonna be really good at assists. Like
It's funny you bring that up. I got it, and I'm gonna butcher this. I pulled up the SPHL's website because I'm bad at remembering these things off the top of my head. But there was a game, and I'm pretty sure we won. Must have been when we beat Peoria. He made an extra pass on a goal that Brody Giroux scored on. And watching it, they were pretty short in the slot. Leaf had the ability to shoot. Of course, he got a great shot when he got the puck. My brain, and I'm pretty sure everybody else on the ice's brain, except Brody, thank goodness, at least gonna shoot this. He's probably gonna put it in. He made a lightning quick, and it was probably a 6 foot pass, and it led to an easy tap in for Brody. And I was like, that is a move that very few guys in this league or maybe the league above us are going to know how to make. And he just made it look so effortless.
yeah,
It was pretty fun to watch.
yeah. It's very cool to see them. I just got Flow Hockey. Actually, I've been looking at it, so I was excited to have that finally to be able to like actually watch every game because it's impossible to make it to everyone, and then I can actually watch it from kind of past. So it's very cool to have that. Is there anything like I'm assuming you I have to work into like working with them. How does that whole thing work out for media stuff like that?
For working with Flo,
Yeah,
oh, they've been great. And I mean, it's cool to be a part of, not just all the other SPHL teams on Flo, but the ECHL and the
yeah,
AHL. It's an incredible outlet for all that hockey. They've been great partners that are continuing to find ways to make the broadcast benefit not just the fans but the teams for us to be able to put ads on there. It's been a great partnership with them and kind of along the lines of what you were saying. I have Flow and I watch our games on there, but I also will watch other games from around the league, from other leagues. I can even see beyond just the hockey. Like if I'll flip on an AHL game and see what promotions they're doing in the game.
yeah.
It's a ton of fun to be able to see all of that.
Yeah. Do you use you said like watching and seeing what kind of promotions do you because one, I think like minor league, for lack of better words, like to see like the fan interaction stuff is so cool and having the promotions. You guys have some of the coolest like Jersey nights and stuff like that where it's just like you just did SpongeBob night stuff like that, is very cool. Do you scout from other teams and kinda, like, use that to help kinda make your path of what you're gonna do? And then what is the process like of making that kinda promotion schedule at the beginning of the year?
We absolutely do. And you used the word scout. Steal might be more accurate, but well, 100%. And I mean, with our league, teams above us, we what we do is put on a show, and a big part of that show is the guys that are on the ice, and our coaches, our equipment manager, athletic trainer, and our players. That's what they are responsible for. For us, we do everything that they need to be successful. Our game is the promotion, and we work all summer. And I would brag that I think not just our team, our league probably puts more emphasis on that than anything. We want people who don't like hockey to be able to come here and have a good time,
Yeah.
or to be able to come to 3 games a year where there's something they don't want to miss. And I think we've gotten pretty good at that. And over the summer, I'm talking with other teams what they did that worked, what they've tried that hasn't worked that might be good in our market. We put, I mean, months of effort into coming up with a unique promo schedule, finding ways to repeat promotions we've done that have been popular, but make them fresh, which can be very challenging at times. But we like to think that we have a 29 game, 28 game promotional schedule that has something for everybody. And
Yeah.
there's not a reason that anyone who lives in the Quad Cities shouldn't be able to come to a game or two, three, 20 games, whatever it is, and enjoy the product we're putting out there.
Yeah, and it's cool to see you guys do, like you're doing the Bluey night. Me and my wife were actually wanting to take our kids to that, like, that's just so fun, like, to get, the younger generation into hockey. I wanted to ask, like, it seems like the hockey around here is growing. What is that I mean, as a hockey fan, you gotta love it. We got, like, the deck hockey. I know that we've got, like, you guys, even having I mean, it's in Coralville, slash Iowa City, but having an ECHL team close, like, it just keeps growing and growing. What does that mean for you personally as a fan and then as an organization?
It's, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. For us, it's kind of our lifeblood. Like, ultimately, I believe very strongly. I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida, originally. So the Lightning, I think, played their first season in 1997. I was born in '93. Like, as soon as I could comprehend anything, I was at hockey games. And
Yeah.
it's like my earliest memories of sports. By the time I started playing when I was like 12, there were 6 arenas within a 15-minute drive of my house in Florida. And all of these arenas had travel teams from mites to U18 midget. They had house league. The adult leagues are crazy down there for a number of reasons. You get transplants coming down from Canada to snowbird, whatever they do. But it's the reason now that the Lightning are selling out every home game
Yeah.
with 18,000 people a night, because it has taken over that city. When I came here, I was stunned to see, especially historically, when the storm came in, attendance had bottomed out here at the Mark with the Mallards. It's the reason they left. But for me to see back, in the early 2000s, late 90s, I mean, minor league sports people who have never been here talk about what the Mallards did there. And to see that really happen with there not being any other hockey in the area was kind of crazy to me. It's great to see, even from the time I've been here, the QCHA is growing substantially. What Pat and Nick are doing at Deck has taken off like
Yeah.
crazy. That is all part of a groundswell that isn't just important for us, like, it's what we need to stay here. And it's been really interesting because I've been here now. I came here in 2018, which is kind of nuts. I've been here for 7 years. It was a challenge for us when we started. You came to a Storm game and you saw a Storm jersey. It was almost surprising because everybody was wearing Mallard stuff. Which,
Yeah.
why wouldn't they be? That
Right.
that team has been here for 20 years. It's the reason that people loved hockey, knew about hockey. Now we have kids coming to our game that don't know who the Mallards are, and we're excited to kind of keep that history going by playing here. And we have our Hockey Town QC game every year where we bring back the Mallards players for
Mhm.
our fans to reconnect with, but also for these kids to see like this is the reason we're here. But they are Storm fans and
Yeah.
they don't know anything else. That's cool to see, and we are also seeing, like I said, the might and squirt levels of the QCHA right now have the most kids of any level
Yeah.
because it's growing, it's becoming more popular. So as that continues to happen, that is just going to help us continue to be successful. And we are also very committed to help growing the game. Our owner, John and Missy Dawson, their daughter plays in the QCHA, and they are as hardcore into youth hockey as anybody. And it's a big reason that they're doing this is because they want pro hockey to be there for their daughter and all the kids that are growing up in this area because it was a big part of their life when they were
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to get into as well because I think it's always just a fun predicament for you guys. Uh, kind of in a few months, have the trouble of you'll be sharing your arena with the steamulers. What goes into that? Like that is such an interesting like. I mean, one night there will be a steamular game, and then the next it will be a storm game. What goes into that? Do you have to work? So we got to interview Doug, the owner of the steamulers, a little bit. And like, do you have to work with them at all? And like the scheduling, how does all that work out?
You know what? We're right down the hall from them.
Yeah,
We chat with them all the time about a variety of things. Our players love going to their games. Their players love coming to our games. The arena handles almost all of that, and it really is. There's kind of two sides of it. It is the scheduling side. You know, we are able to play a football game one night and a hockey game the next night, or vice versa. It can get a little more challenging with concerts when you have big loadouts and all that kind
yeah,
of stuff. But the nice thing is that their board perimeter is the same as ours.
yeah,
So I'm sure Doug might have mentioned this, but say we play Friday, they play Saturday. We'll play, arena clears out. They've got probably 2 layers of foam board and plastic board that go over. Turf rolls out on it, and they're ready to go.
yeah,
I don't think here we have ever done, and it's a shame, a like time lapse camera of it. And we could do some really crazy ones because there have been weekends where we have got hockey, football, concert, like big 7, 8,000 person concert. And that'd be pretty cool to see that
yeah,
set up, ice, grass, Kiss, or whoever it
yeah.
was playing. It's unique, but it's a lot of hard work from the ops crew here that can make those things happen.
Yeah, that'd be a very cool video to see, like, kind of the switch over, but, yeah, I also just find it insane that, like, there's not much padding, and then they just kinda throw it over the board that's
So,
there, and then there's, like, concrete under the turf. Like, that's a whole new level of extreme for me, I'm not into that.
yeah, man, I'm with you. Those guys don't get enough credit. Like, ice is very hard. The boards are hard. Everyone knows how tough hockey players are, and football players. It's not like people don't think they're tough, but those guys playing in the arena,
Yeah,
they get smoked sometimes. And they're like you said, there's not a lot of padding on that carpet.
no. Well, and then you got the wide receivers that are flying over the edge and going and slamming into actual concrete on the other side.
Yeah, they're tough.
Yeah. So, before we end, what do we got in store for the Storm? What are we heading in the season? How are we turning things around? Because, like you said, I mean, we're a little not disappointed is a bad word, but like the record doesn't show how well the team is playing. What do we got going that way? What do we got going for kind of some of the promotion games that are coming up? What's going on?
Sure. Well, I'll start on the promotion side because I'm selfish and I spend way too much time on that. But huge end of the year, calendar year wise, we have a 3 game weekend coming up. We haven't had one of Friday, Saturday, Sunday in quite a while. But we've got Rock and Roll Night Friday. We've got Saints of Sabbath, which is a super cool Black Sabbath tribute band that's coming from the East Coast to play. After the game, concert is included with the purchase of a ticket. And then Saturday is Radar's birthday, our mascot. So we're going to have a ton of different mascots, a couple cool ones we've never had before. Some announcements will be coming out on. And then Sunday, Santa will be here,
Oh,
which is pretty cool. Our Sunday games, you can bring dogs to them. So that's exciting for all these dogs that have been stuck in the house with the
yeah,
snow outside. and we're also going to have an autograph section on the ice after the game. So, good way to get some Christmas gifts signed maybe ahead of Christmas, and that will be our last game pre-Christmas. And then the day after is our Winter Classic night. Dollar beers, which is significant,
Yeah.
and we'll be wearing some whiteout jerseys, which are super cool looking. And then the 27th, the game you alluded to, Bluey Night, which I do not have kids. I did not know how big of a deal Bluey was until we announced it. And
Yeah.
get your tickets early. I would suggest to everybody. Bluey is big time, and Bluey will be here. So then we have our New Year's Eve game as well. 6:10 start on New Year's Eve. Great way to start the festivities. So that's what's coming up on the promotional side. On the hockey side, I had a couple things I really wanted to watch coming into the year. The first was goaltending, and just two new goalies, and I was curious to see how they would be. You know, I don't think their stats really represent even how good they've been. I've been very impressed with both of them. And I think going into a season, if you have two guys that you really feel you can win a game with, no matter who's in net, in this league, that's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
The one thing we have on our roster is goal scorers, and I think there's a lot of them that are still looking to get going, which is not unique to hockey. I think even Leaf would probably tell you he's not at the clip he wants to be at yet.
Yeah. And
Thomas, Stoichevsky, Giroux, all
not
these
to
guys.
not to cut you
Sorry, go
off,
ahead.
but like no, I noticed like we actually had the conversation yesterday in the podcast, but Noah Massey like is just opening up all of a sudden and just like he had a great week this week.
Yeah, and like perfect example, Matt's a defenseman. We've been getting goals from him. Dmitry Toporowski has been phenomenal. We've been getting so much scoring from our defense. Coming into the season, we were concerned about the blue line. We're like, well, we're going to score goals. We've got those guys, but our defense has been there.
Yeah.
And when your defense and goaltending is there, that's the safety blanket that makes you think, okay, the guys that have their whole lives put the puck in the back of the net, they're going to figure that out. That's as crazy as it sounds, probably the easiest thing to get going.
Yeah.
We've got the back end in a pretty good spot right now. So that's what makes me optimistic with so many new guys coming in. They're still figuring each other out. I think, especially with some teams that are not on the podium in the SPHL right now in the top three spots, a chance to get some confidence.
Yeah.
I think that could propel these guys to playing hockey that will not just look good and end with the bad result, but get them the results they're looking for. So that's what I'm excited to see over the
Yeah.
next couple months.
Yeah. And not to like I'm not trying to like hound them or anything, but like the power play opportunities is what I was a little frustrated about this week. I think we went 1 for 9. It was like, oh, like those are some huge opportunities that we could have had. Because I mean the Storm have been really they haven't gotten in much penalty trouble this year, I've noticed. Like they're very disciplined on the ice, and kind of let those opportunities come to them. It's just taking advantage of them is the where it needs to go.
No, you are 100% right. I'm pulling up here. And watching the games this year, been frustrated with some, but there hasn't been a game where I'm like, God, that we blew that one until Wednesday. The
Yeah.
Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That is the game that we played well enough to win, and we didn't close it out. And
Yeah.
there was no good feeling taken from that game, even though they played very well. And to what you're saying, you look at the power play. We went 1 of 6. Peoria went two
Yeah.
of three, and that's the difference in the game. And I think that was an opportunity for Shane and those guys to talk to him and say, look, you gotta do better on the teams, and you gotta play 60 minutes in
Yep.
this league, especially against that team that's been together for a long time. They've won a championship. They're going to make you pay. And I think bad game, and I still haven't gotten over it. Clearly, that's one that I think could really turn into a good learning experience because you look at what happens after that. You got Thanksgiving the next day. These guys hop on the bus. They go to a Huntsville team that got beat twice in a row. Huntsville comes out with their hair on fire and gets all over us.
Yeah.
Well, we played two pretty good periods after that. You lose the game, but then you go to Macon and you take care of business. Now you come back, you got that gross feeling out of your stomach from that Wednesday you won a game. I'm really interested to see how they can carry some momentum into Knoxville this weekend. Knoxville's also a tough team to play at home. They've got an old school barn that fans are right on top of you. The rink's about 12 feet shorter than regulation, and they know that. They know how to play it well. But they're a team that I think we match up well with physically. And if we can wear them down early and get some more good goaltending like we have, I think we have a chance to come home with the point.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on, Brian. I would love to have you on kind of later in the year and kind of hopefully talk about some winning hockey and how that's everything that we talked about is changed and we're seeing some awesome hockey going on. Like I said, it's not like we're out of it by any means. They're still right in the mix, even being kind of towards the bottom. But like I said, it was very awesome to have you on. I appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, Ryan, glad to do it, man. I appreciate the invite. Would love to talk to you again.
Yeah, awesome. And then I also wanted to talk to you